All right. OkultinometriX in Trivium, episode 17 on Spreaker, social podcasting, and on Wisdom, social audio Inc. Hello, Dottie and Mr. Tony. What's up? So this is something I haven't done before. Dottie, I'm glad that you're on here. It signifies to me that you're doing better, if not well. Here is something really interesting that I've never done before. Welcome, Christopher John Martins. And basically, it's really not that much of a stretch of anything, except that what I'm doing is I've laid out the Viking runes, the Black Tarot, and the infamous Demon Tarot. And what I've done is I've mapped them over the layout of the reading of the rune spread, which means the rune spread goes, it's a 5 rune spread, and in the first position it's supposed to be the overview of the situation. In the second position it's called challenge. In the third position it's course of action called for. In the fourth position it's sacrifice, and in the fifth position it's new situation evolving. And so I'm going to do this reading, and what I'm going to do, as I've never done before, is I'm going to read each position together. So meaning I'm going to look at the first position of the runes, which is the overview of the situation, followed by the first card of the Black Tarot and the first card of the Demon Tarot, and all the attributes of it, to see what kind of correlations there are, if any. Like, do they say similar things because the same issue was posed to all of them? So that's why it's in Trivium, even though the Trivium is really an old system of learning where it's grammar, logic, and rhetoric, and the Quadrivium is number, music, geometry, and astronomy. But but it's still Trivium, could be 3 things, right? So that's why, and I just like the word Trivium. So OkultinometriX in Trivium, episode 17. This is Hitman Hakeem in the morning, afternoon, and night. I'm here at Barnes & Noble in Town Center, and here we go. So I've got to, first of all, since I'm going to be reading all 3 of them, I need to make sure I have all 3 books. So this is a true reading. Hello, Cosmic J. Because I'm actually reading the books, right? Because I want to see the thing about this, right? If I'm doing a true metaphysical science experiment, right, I want to make sure that the interpretations that come off of these readings aren't things off the top of my head, right? Because I want to see what the similarities, if any, there are when the same issue was posed to all of them, right? And it says the issue is such and such a relationship, right? For example. And that's what we'll be looking at here in these 3 different books. And what's exciting about it is we're going to see if they have any similarities in each of the positions. So again, the first position, each card has been, and each rune has been pulled for. The rune has been pulled for. The first position is overview of the situation. The second position is challenge. The third position is course of action called for. The fourth position is sacrifice, probably sacrifice to be made. And the fifth position is new situation evolving. All right. Are we ready for this? Hello, welcome, Mr. Andrew Johnson. Who do we have here? Tony, Dottie, Christopher J, John Martins, Cosmic J, Andrew Johnson. Welcome. So this is exciting for me. It's whether or not these things correspond is still going to be interesting. What also is very interesting about this, what was revealed to me, is that those who are listening are actually getting a reading for themselves. This was inspired by Nail Fanatic, who's on here, Melinda. She does these readings where she's shuffling through her cards and she's talking, 100 miles an hour, and like every time I've logged into a room here on Wisdom while she's speaking, some really interesting things come out, like as if she's speaking directly to me. And so, hold on, I was supposed to meet my sister somewhere, but I have to do this. I gotta tell her I'm working on something. Gotta be vague. Working on something. So I gotta tell her not today. Because it's not important, guys. It's just me going to a gym to talk to the general manager about a membership because some other jerk there said that I couldn't get that. So welcome, everybody. So what's exciting about this is I'm going to see, like I said about Melinda Nail Fanatic, some of these things may be speaking directly to you, and that's why you've tuned in to listen live or to the recording. Again, this is Hitman, Hitman, Hakeem in the morning, afternoon, and night, with episode 17 on Spreaker for the show Wisdom Top Mentor Interviews, and I'm also here on Wisdom. And this is Spreaker Social Podcasting and Wisdom Social Audio Inc. So let us proceed then. The first position, I'm going to read the Viking runes first, then Black Tarot, and then Demon Tarot, and see what kind of correspondences we get, if any. Right? There might be nothing at all similar. However, one of the first things that I noticed, right? So it's somewhere in the world, it's 1:11. It's 3:11 or 15:11 here on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, and looking at the first rune that was pulled, it's called Algaes, and it's on page 111. And let's see what it says in the first position for the overview of the situation. Welcome Sir J and Yusuf Washerman. You're just tuning in to hear the very beginning, the very first reading, so you're lucky I'm getting started right now. So, the overview of the situation. Viking runes first. It's in the upright position. This is protection. Sedge or rushes, the elk. Overview of the situation. Control of the emotions is at issue here. During times of transition, shifts in life course, and accelerated self-change, it is important not to collapse yourself into your emotions, the highs as well as the lows. New opportunities and challenges are typical of this rune, and with them may come trespasses and unwanted influences. Algaes serves as a mirror for the spiritual warrior, the one whose battle is always with the self. The warrior's protection is like the curved horns of the elk or the warning rustle of the sedge grass, for both serve to keep open space around you. Remain mindful that timely right action and correct conduct are your only true protection. If you find yourself feeling pain, observe the pain, stay with it. Do not try to pull down the veil and escape from life by denying what is happening. You will progress, knowing that is your protection. You will progress, knowing that is your protection. All right, so we have the first position, overview of the situation in the Viking runes, protection, sedge or rushes, the elk. And it says control of the emotions is at issue here. All right, that's the first position, new situation evolving, control of the emotions. All right, let's go on to the Black Tarot. In the first position is the Father of Baskets. Father of Baskets. All right, so we got the Father of Baskets here in the first position, which is new situation evolving. What does that tell us? Are there any similarities? All right, I just have to find that here. Father of Baskets. Okay. Wow, this is... Alright. It's in the family court cards. Alright, Father of Baskets. Overview of the situation. Provider, support. A man stands under an arch or in his garden, filling his basket with some of the flourishing harvest. The father of baskets has a skilled level of emotional intelligence and carries this awareness as he interacts with the world. He holds the key to the equilibrium between the heart and the head. All right, guys, I'm already a little bit impressed here. The first one was talking about control of the emotions, and here we already have him saying he's skilled at a level of emotional intelligence and holds the key to equilibrium between the heart and the head. All right, that's kind of exciting. All right, here we go. This card in a reading is a reminder to hold firm to your boundaries and to voice your needs to protect your whole self. It says protect. Remember, the Viking runes on page 111 for this, one of the defining characteristics of it says protection, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, protection, sedge rushes, and the elk. All right, we're on to something here. I think we're on to something. These coincidences may just be confirmation bias, but we'll see. All right, here we go. This card is a reminder to hold firm to your boundaries and to voice your needs to protect your whole self. The father of baskets applies intellect, making wise decisions, not letting other people or circumstances distract him from his core values and morals. Remember, when you engage with others, you must practice peaceful navigation around their feelings and emotional triggers. Yin Yang, stability, generosity, resourcefulness, trustworthiness. In Yin, manipulation, betrayal, hatred, and insecurity. Aligning, it says commit to volunteer work. Okay, but already we have a pattern emerging here. We have protection, we have emotional control, and both of them already so far. Okay, let's look at the infamous Demon Tarot here. Welcome to the room, Jesse Dot Expert, Stacey Johnson, Lois Hampson. This has already turned out to be a little fire here. So, Demon Tower, first of all, in the first position, once again, it's the overview of the situation. We have a character here called Zafan, and it says, Zafan was once an angel, but he advocated setting fire to heaven and was cast out for his rebellious suggestion. Now he constantly maintains the furnace of hell with his bellows. Now let's take a look at Zafan in the book now, the expanded annotation, as well as the inspiration and the divination, and see what, if any, pattern continues to emerge from that, as it did with the first two divination tools we used, which was the Viking runes and then the Black Tower. Here we go. Zafan. Annotation. Zafan is another of the maintenance workers of hell. See also Ukelbach on page 127. Zafan's skill is that of a bellows, and that is also his job in hell. He is tasked with blowing on the fires of all of hell's furnaces to keep the fires bright and hot. If this seems like an unfairly difficult task compared with Ukelbach's, the reason is perhaps found in the reason for Zafan's fall from heaven. Colin de Plancy asserts that Zafan proposed to set heaven on fire. So caught up was he in the idea of rebellion. It is possible that his current position is punishment for a failed idea. I don't know, to me that's, maybe I'm just looking for things, but he was so caught up in the idea of rebellion. It seems like an emotional move. Let's see, inspiration. Zafan is said to have been highly respected in heaven for his inventiveness. In fairness, the idea of setting heaven on fire was probably considered very novel, at least. But such a violent act would have been, by its very nature, destructive instead of inventive, if it had succeeded. It seems that Zafan might have been better off giving more thought to the best ways to express his support of the rebellion. Here, oh wow, this is interesting. The divination says, I don't know, maybe I'm looking too much, maybe I'm trying to find a pattern here, but the divination says, beware of being swept into a mob mentality, of taking disputes and protests to violent or disruptive actions. I think that goes along with control of the emotions. No? Yay? Nay? I don't know. But that's so far with the two things in protection here that we had in the first two. All right, I'm going to be moving pretty quickly here. We're going to the second position. And the second position is that of challenge. The second position is challenge. So looking at the second position, first of the Viking runes, we have Othila, but it's reversed on page 98. Othila reversed. What is Othila? Othila is also separation. So this is the challenge. The challenge is Othila reversed. And let's take a look. Separation, retreat, inheritance. But it's reversed in the position of challenge. Number 2 position. Reversed. This is not a time to be bound by old conditioning, old authority. Consider not only what will benefit you, but what will benefit others, and act according to the light you possess now in your life. Because you may be called upon to undertake a radical departure from old ways, total honesty is required. Otherwise, through negligence or refusal to see clearly, you may cause pain to others and damage to yourself. Adaptability and skillful means are the methods to cultivate at this time, and still you must wait for the universe to act. Receiving this rune, remember, we do without doing, and everything gets done. So we got reverse, separation, retreat, and inheritance. Going along right away very quickly once again to the Black Tarot, second position, which is a position of challenge. And who do we have in that position? We have the Mother of Wands. Mother of Wands. In the second position, which is a position of challenge. Mother of Wands. All right. Mother of Wands, in the position of challenge, it says passion and courage. Description: the Mother of Wands, depicted in a field of sunflowers, holds one of the blooms in her hand, showcasing her blossoming life force. Sunflowers always move to face the sun, reminding us to seek out light and, ultimately, truth. The sunflower she is holding covers half her face, an acknowledgement that not everyone will understand your walk and your journey, but still it's important to live your authentic experience. The Mother of Wands is willing to fight for what she believes in, no matter how uncomfortable or challenging it can be to stick to one's convictions. This card is a sign to allow your zest for life to color everything you do and to practice daily gratitude. In Yang, determination, fire, independence, entrepreneurship. In Yin, jealousy, insecurity, maliciousness, gluttony. Aligning, try something new. Does any of that have anything to do with the Othilla on page, the reversal of separation, retreat, and inheritance? We have determination, fire, independence, and entrepreneurship. I don't know. Let's see. Depiction, passion, courage. I'm not seeing anything there, but we're going to move on to the Demon Tower really quickly. I may be missing something or not, but let's go on to the Demon Tower really quickly. So we still are in the second position of the challenge. Remember, the overview of the situation, at least for the first two, gave us control of the emotions, and I feel like Zaphan gave emotional control because it said not to let things get out of hand and become disruptive, violent, or disruptive actions. So I think that might be signaling control of the emotions. So the overview of the situation might be just emotional control. All right, looking now at the second position, which is a challenge here, we have Malthus. Malthus in the challenge here. This is the third of the ones that we're looking at. And the card for Malthus says, Malthus is a president of hell who has governance over 40 legions of demons. The demonographers write that he may manifest in the appearance of a man or a raven, and that his voice is harsh in either form. Okay? And then as we look at Malthus in the challenge here, to get more about him in the annotation, and see how that, if it does at all, line up with the first or second ones. Let's see. Malthus is one of Wyre's demons, listed as a president of hell with 40 military units under his command. One of his forms is that of a raven, and even when he manifests in human form, he is unable to hide his harsh, loud voice. Malthus's specialty is that of architecture and engineering. Not only can he assist those who summon him with building towers and walls that cannot be climbed over or broken down, but also he can point out the structural weaknesses in other structures so that they may be broken down. Inspiration. Colin de Clancy also mentions Malthus's gifts at finding capable workers and good familiars for those who summon him. Familiars are perhaps less useful in our everyday lives, but a strongly structured company requires a foundation of good workers. So we see that Malthus's skills at building are not only with wood and stone, but also with people. Okay, there might be a connection there because of the fact that the Mother of Wands has determination, independence, and entrepreneurship, and we're talking here about structured company and capable workers and good familiars. Okay, so maybe something there, but let's look at the divination. It says, focus on physical or metaphorical structure, creating strong foundations, or finding weaknesses in seemingly indestructible barriers. So that is, trying something new, strong foundations, finding weakness. And what does the Viking runes say about that one again? This reversal of separation, retreat, and inheritance. Okay, so far, only a few points of contact with the first, or similarity with the first pulls in the first position, which is the overview of the situation, and that's okay. Let's take a look now at the third position, which is the course of action called for. This should be juicy. What is the what would be the course of action called for? Welcome to the room, Broken Wisdom, Stacy Johnson. We're going on with the third position, course of action called for. This is always good because these are more clear. Usually 1, 3, and 5 are the clearest because they actually have direction. Number 1 is the overview of the situation. Number 2 says challenge, which can kind of be vague. Number 3 is the course of action called for. 4 is sacrifice, also a little bit less specific and a little bit more vague. And then fifth position is the new situation evolving. So 1, 3, and 5 I always expect to be more coherent. Let's take a look and see if that holds here. All right, third position being the course of action called for. In the Viking runes, the position that's holding that is Urus on page 100, which is the ox. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that is. And it's in the upright position. It says strength, manhood, womanhood, the wild ox. And also I'm already seeing something pretty interesting about that when I'm just looking across at the other 2 cards, but this is fun. Let's take a look. Okay, remember this is the position of course of action called for. Viking runes, the rune of terminations and new beginnings. Drawing Urus indicates that the life you have been living has outgrown its form. That form must die so that new energy can be released into a new form. This is a rune of passage and, as such, part of the cycle of initiation. Positive growth and change, however, may involve a descent into darkness as a part of the cycle of perpetual renewal. As in nature, this progression consists of 5 aspects: death, decay, fertilization, gestation, rebirth. Events occurring now may well prompt you to undergo a death within yourself. Since self-change is never coerced, we are always free to resist. Remain mindful that the new life is always greater than the old. Prepare then for opportunity disguised as loss. It could involve the loss of someone or something to which you have an intense emotional bond, and through which you are living a part of your life, a part that must now be retrieved so you can live it out for yourself. In some way, that bond is being severed, a relationship radically changed, a way of life coming to an end. Seek among the ashes and discover a new perspective and new strength. The ancient symbol for Urus was the aurochs, a wild ox. When the wild ox was domesticated, an immensely difficult task, it could transport heavy loads. Learn to adapt yourself to the demand of such a creative time. Firm principles attached to this rune. At the same time, humility is called for, since in order to rule, you must learn how to serve. Urus puts you on notice that your soul and the universe support new growth. All right, that's, remember, course of action called for in the third position. Let's go to the Black Tarot, which is the Devil. The Devil, which is one of the major arcana, I believe. Let's go in there and see what the Devil has to say to us about the course of action called for, and if that has any similarities to that ox and that death and that starting new things and getting rid of the old and ending relationships and things like that. What do you think? Here we go. Course of action called for. Death. Oh, look what it says right away. The first thing in the trait says endings, transitions. And no, I think I told you that there's a pattern here when it comes to those more specific ones. Card description. A child and a skeleton are in a garden, surrounded by greenery, taking care... Oh, I'm sorry, that's death. Hold on, guys, I'm bad. My bad. The Devil is the next page. All right, so it's completely different, but that's interesting that I went on that page. All right, no, completely different. Let's scratch that. This is the Devil, not death, the Devil. All right, traits: desire, addiction, no. So that has nothing to do with endings. Well, maybe no is. Okay, card description. A hooded figure wears a skull and has a spinning compass around his neck. He welcomes temptation in all its forms, pulling us in all directions. He embodies the ego, toxicity, and chaos, of the material world. Are you aware of all your addictions? The Devil card means that it is time for an honest self-evaluation and for confrontation of our raw desires. He lets us know it is time to make peace with any fault, shame, or guilt we might be holding on to and to forgive ourselves. We must face our demons. When the Devil card is pulled, it is time to consider the following. Do I act consciously, considering the law of attraction? Do I choose to live in ignorance instead of facing the truth? Am I giving my love, time, and energy to people and things that serve my betterment? Flower is the apple blossom, temptation, element, earth, chakra root. In yang, attachment, shadow self, sexuality, addiction, negative attachments, focus on earthly pleasures, stagnation, feeling trapped, resentments, dangerous relationships, risk of clinical depression, risk of silent illnesses. In yin, dark thoughts, detachment, tyranny, narcissism, new awareness, financial troubles, working toward recovery from addiction or mental health issues. Aligning, consume and indulge consciously. Affirmation, I am in sync with my intuition and inner knowledge, which always lead me in the correct direction. Okay, so far, nothing connecting those two there that I can tell about the course of action call for, but maybe they're just giving us a big long sentence of different courses of action to call for, but I do not see anything in there. Strength, manhood, womanhood, the wild ox. This one is desire, addiction, no. Nope, but I gotta hurry up and move on to the Demon Tarot. In the third position, which is the course of action called for, is Barrett. The card for Barrett says, Barrett, also Baal Barrett, Lord of the Covenant, is a Duke of Hell with 26 military units under his command. Demonographers describe him as a soldier riding a red steed. Alright, Barrett, what do you have to say to us here in these three cards here? Okay, annotation. Barrett, also Baal Barrett, the Lord of the Covenant, is listed by wire as a Duke of Hell in command of 26 legions. Carlin DePlancy and other demonologists describe his appearance as very human, as a soldier riding a red steed and wearing the crown of his station. However, the idols of Baal Barrett of biblical literature had many forms, including flies, which were perhaps actually idols to another Baal. See Beelzebub. Barrett is one of the few demons whose weakness is specifically recorded by most demonologists. Most sources agree that in order to command Barrett, the summoner must have a certain magical ring. Lord of the Rings, anybody? Inspiration. In addition to the fairly common demonic skills of telling the past, present, and future, Barrett is said to have been able to help alchemists turn anything into gold. He was also said to enjoy inciting war and murder. There is perhaps some correlation there, for gold is very often the motive behind war, murder, and other dark deeds. Divination, focus on material gain, but beware of greed that can turn into dangerous motivations. Again, don't see anything going on there with any of the first two, but maybe there's something that you are listening that are pulling out that I am not, simply because of the fact that I'm moving so fast, I may not be catching something that you are. Fourth position, almost there, starting with the Viking runes. The fourth position is Sacrifice, and this is represented by Soelu. It has no reversal. It's on page 139 here. And this is Sacrifice, maybe what needs to be sacrificed or cut away. Sacrifice position, wholeness, life force, the sun's energy. Soelu stands for wholeness, that which our nature requires. It embodies the impulse towards self-realization and indicates the path you must follow, not from ulterior motives, but from the core of your individuality. Seeking after wholeness is the spiritual warrior's quest, and yet what you are striving to become in actuality is what, by nature, you already are. Become conscious of your essence and bring it into form. Express it in a creative way. A rune of great power making life force available to you, Soelu marks a time for regeneration down to the cellular level. Although this rune has no reverse position, there is a reason for caution. You may see fit to withdraw or even to retreat in the face of a pressing situation, especially if events or people are demanding that you expend your energy now. Know that such a retreat is a retreat in strength, a voyage inward for centering, for balance. Timely retreat is among the skills of the spiritual warrior. Soelu counsels opening yourself up, letting the light into a part of your life that has been secret, shut away. To accomplish this may call for a profound recognition, for admitting to yourself something that you have long denied. There is a prayer, known as the Gayatri, that embodies the spirit of the rune of wholeness. Address the sun in this fashion. You, who are the source of all power, whose rays illuminate the world, illuminate also my heart, so that it too can do your work. While reciting the Gayatri, visualize the sun's rays streaming forth into the world, entering your heart, then streaming out from your heart center and back into the world. This is a powerful and life-enhancing prayer. There is caution here not to give yourself airs. Even in a time of bountiful energy, you are required to face and vanquish your refusal, to let right action flow through you. Nourish this capacity, for it is a mark of true humility. Practice the art of doing without doing. Aim yourself truly and then maintain your aim without manipulative effort. Meditate on Christ's words. I can of mine own self do nothing. John 5:30. For by our own power we do nothing, even in loving. It is love that loves through us. This way of thinking and being integrates new energies and permits us to flow into wholeness, which is the ultimate goal of the spiritual warrior. So that was Gayatri. It's wholeness, life force, the sun's energy. There was a power, there was a prayer with the sun. And remember, this is sacrifice. It's moving on to the fourth position of the card here, which is the Mother of Coins. Is there any points of contact? I'm actually going to have to write these down. Mother of Coins in the position of sacrifice, number 4. Generosity and opulence. Card description: a beekeeper stands in an orchard on her honey farm holding a frame from the beehive. The Mother of Coins nurtures a space of comfort as a loving host and soothing mentor. She is down to earth, resourceful, big-hearted, making all feel welcome and at home. The Mother of Coins can always be called upon, especially in a pinch. The Mother's abundance is well earned, ensuring security and prosperity, which enable her to welcome more individuals to the table to enjoy her generosity. The card reminds you to show gratitude for all forms of opulence. Knowledge and health are riches she honors as generational wealth. In Yang, reaping fruits of labor, creature comforts, resourceful, honest. In Yin, mismanaging, overthinking, blocking luck, bad investments, dependent, and self-absorbed. Aligning, do not spend for 1 week or month. Sacrifice, maybe something to give that up. And then in the Viking rune, just going back a little bit, it was so well known. It said wholeness, life force, the sun's energy. Again, I'm not seeing anything or reading anything that's connecting them, but maybe you will. Here is the fourth position, also in sacrifice for the demon tarot now, which is occupied by the creature known as Garuda. All right, let's see. And welcome Terry, Sarita, Isa, Gudel, Chuck. Welcome everyone into the room here. All right. So now we've got Garuda in this position, and on Garuda's card, the abbreviation here says, here's for our sacrifice position, right? Garuda is based on the legends of the Hindu aspect of the same name. His body is that of a great and magnificent bird, powerful enough to carry the god Vishnu, and his head is that of a handsome man. All right, annotation of Garuda. Remember, this is the position of sacrifice here in which is based off of the Book of Runes lineup of their 5 rune spread that I use. And we're going to see, what is Garuda? Hey, G comes after F Hakim. Okay, Garuda's annotation. Of the Hindu aspects described by Colin de Plancy in his Dictionnaire, Garuda is the most accurate. Colin de Plancy gives Garuda's physical description as that of a great bird with the head of a handsome young man. He also notes that Garuda served the god Vishnu as a vahana, a Sanskrit word meaning that which carries or pulls, and therefore a mythical vehicle or mount of a deity. Colin de Plancy also states that Garuda's mother, who incubated the egg from which he hatched for 4 years, was called Diti, but most Hindu legends regarding Garuda say that his mother was Vinata and his father was Kasyapa. Inspiration. there are several different versions of the story of how Garuda came to be the mount of Vishnu. Some traditions state that owing to Garuda's great size when he was born, he was so hungry that he went on several quests trying to find enough food. But it was not until he met Vishnu that he found a way to be fulfilled. Other legends say that Garuda went searching for the elixir of immortality, and after many quests, he found it. But Vishnu offered him eternal life, without the elixir, if he would become his mount. All stories about the event agree that Garuda spent many long and difficult quests trying to fulfill some need, and that once Vishnu granted that need, he gave his services ever after out of thanks. Alright, and finally the divination in the position of sacrifice. It says, focus on patience and perseverance in difficult situations and on repaying those who help to attain goals. Does that have anything to do with, it says, do not spend for 1 week, reaping fruits of labor, preacher comforts, resourceful, honest, generosity, opulence, maybe some tenuous point of contact, but nothing really. Let's look at wholeness, life force, the sun's energy, okay? Nothing yet, once again. Now finally, the fifth position, which, oh my gosh. Alright, hold on here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Aha. Guys, I have to tell you something. I actually jumped the gun. I actually just read for the Viking wounds, and thankfully, it's actually only one of them. It was I read incorrectly the looking at my chart here. I read incorrectly the fourth position. It was actually not Sowelu. That's the last one. And so I read correctly the Mother of Coins and Garuda, but the Viking rune, it was not that one. It's actually a reverse position. And it's actually, what is this one called? It's called Ihwaz. So maybe it might line up a little bit better with those. I don't know how. I have the Viking runes positioned in a different way than I do the card spread, so it looks a little bit different. Let me arrange them how I have those. This is 1, then you have 2 goes here, 3 goes here, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, now I'll be able to look at it better like this. All right. Okay. So we're back at the fourth position, 1, 2, 3, 4, which was not Sowelu. Sowelu, I read that as wholeness, life force, and the sun's energy. That's actually not it. But I arranged them back in a way where it should be read. It's actually Ihwaz, which is on page 125. Let's see if this is going to line up here. Let's see. Okay, 125. We're going back to the fourth position of sacrifice, and it's also reversed. So let's look at what sacrifice reversed here. Okay. Movement, reversed. This is the sacrifice position. Movement that appears to block. Be certain that what you are doing or not doing is timely. There are no missed opportunities. You have simply to recognize that not all possibilities are open to you, that not all opportunities are appropriate. The opportunity at hand may be precisely to avoid action. If you are feeling at a loss, unclear about the need to act, consider what is timely to your nature, and remember, what is yours will come to you, and that is movement, progress, and the horse in the fourth position of sacrifice. So you have to sacrifice, movement, progress, horse. Interestingly enough, it is reversed, so that makes sense, being in reverse position for being sacrificed. So it's saying sacrifice, movement, progress, and it's the horse, which again, a movement that appears to block. Again, in that same position was the Mother of Coins. I don't think she had anything to say that when we read. Let's see. Well, yeah, it says do not spend for 1 week. So that is the aligning. Okay. And then in the Demon Tower, what does Garuda's thing say for that? Focus on patience and perseverance in difficult situations and repaying those who help attain goals. You know, now it makes a lot more sense. Now that actually did line up a little bit better. That I read it in the correct order. All right. Hey. That was my second fuck up right there, but I'm glad that I caught it really quickly so that I can put them in the right place. Also, I took photos of all of them before so that I actually have them. I can look back at them. All right. Now let's see. Finally, we are in the fifth position. Now, finally, we are in the 5th position, and I read the last one of the Viking runes incorrectly first. The other two I read correctly, but I read the Viking runes one incorrectly first. But now, this is the final one for the Viking runes, the Black Tarot, and the Demon Tarot. And let's see if we find anything at all, if anything at all, lines up. Welcome, Chocolate Yoda, AB, and Andrea. All right, let's see. This is the last one. And that one is actually Sowello, which I did read before. And Sowello has no reversal, and it's on page 139. All right. Okay. Last one. So remember, this last position is the new situation evolving. New situation evolving. This final position is the new situation evolving, and I'm taking my time for a moment here to make sure I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the right position. I'm not going to read the wrong position again. Here we go. All right, new situation evolving. Sowello. Here we go. We heard this before, but in the wrong position. Now it's in its correct place. Number 5. Wholeness, life force, the sun's energy. And this was a long-ass one, too, but I'm going to have to read it again. Wholeness, life force, the sun's energy. Sowello stands for wholeness, that which our nature requires. A new situation evolving, right? It embodies the impulse towards self-realization and indicates the path you must follow, not from ulterior motives, but from the core of your individuality. Seeking after wholeness is a spiritual warrior's quest, and yet what you are striving to become in actuality is what by nature you already are. Become conscious of your essence and bring it into form. Express it in a creative way. A rune of great power, making life force available to you, Sowello marks a time for regeneration down to the cellular level. Although this rune has no reverse position, there is reason for caution. You may see fit to withdraw or even to retreat in the face of a pressing situation, especially if events or people are demanding that you expand your energy now. Know that such a retreat is a retreat in strength, a voyage inward for centering, for balance. Timely retreat is among the skills of the spiritual warrior. Sowello counsels opening yourself up, letting light into a part of your life that has been secret, shut away. To accomplish this may call for a profound recognition, for admitting to yourself something that you have long denied. There is a prayer, known as the Gayatri, that embodies the spirit of the rune of wholeness. Address the sun in this fashion. You who are the source of all power, whose rays illuminate the world, illuminate also my heart, so that it too can do your work. While reciting the Gayatri, visualize the sun's rays streaming forth into the world, entering your heart, then streaming out from your heart center and back into the world. This is a powerful and life-enhancing prayer. There is a caution here not to give yourself airs. Even in a time of bountiful energy, you are required to face and vanquish your refusal to let right action flow through you. Nourish this capacity, for it is a mark of true humility. Practice the art of doing without doing. Aim yourself truly, and then maintain your aim without manipulative effort. Meditate on Christ's words. I can of mine own self do nothing, from John 5:30. For by our own power we do nothing, even in loving. It is love that loves through us. This way of thinking and being integrates new energies and permits us to flow into wholeness. It is the ultimate goal of the spiritual work. That was long, but I had to reread that one again because it was in the wrong position before. But now we have it in 5th position. New situation evolving. It's wholeness, life force, sun's energy. Even in loving, it is love that loves through us. Going on now to the Black Tarot. What do we have in that position? Oh, we have the Lovers. The Lovers are in that position. I believe that those are the major arcana. Let me find that here. Where is it? The Lovers. Yes, there we go, the Lovers. Remember, this is the position of new situation evolving, and we just had the Viking rune in that position, which was Sowello, which is wholeness, life force, and the sun's energy. And here we have the Lovers. New situation evolving. Traits: unity, love, yes. Card description: a couple standing in a body of water are about to kiss. They symbolize yin and yang, the union of opposites, and the forces of desire and attraction. While the lovers represent romance and love, this card can be representative of relationships outside a romantic context. It reminds us of the importance of self-love and that honoring and understanding that love is the basis of an elevated and matured connection. Ultimately, we all invest our time, energy, and attention in someone or something. The Lover's card asks us to reflect on whom and what we are giving ourselves to. Okay? A little contact there. When the Lover's card is pulled, it is time to consider the following. Will your current attachments benefit and better you in terms of your long-term goals? How do you decide what to fully commit to? Is your investment in your relationships being reciprocated? The flowers, daisy and chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum is love, element air, chakra heart. In yang, passion, harmony, love, relationships, soulmates, kindred spirits, perfect unions, desire, shared values, unity, opportunity, mutual attraction, healing of the heart. In yin, disharmony, imbalance, miscommunication, self-love, trust issues, conflict, disconnection, lack of accountability, detachment, emotional instability, temptation from unethical choices and opportunities, and needed healing. Aligning, practice shadow work and inner work. Speak for yourself, not for your partner. Affirmation. I attract relationships and connections with individuals that are in alignment with my higher self. And again, moving now finally to the fifth position, Demon Tarot, in the position of new situation. Evolving is Moloch. I think Moloch is also, they made him a character in like one of those video games. Alright, Moloch, on his card, his abbreviation says, Moloch, also Melech, is an exiled god-king of the Ammonites. His ancient idols, which also served as crucibles for his living sacrifices, depicted him as a throned king with the head of a calf. Alright, Moloch, what do you got to tell us about the new situation evolving, and does it have anything similar to the first two, which both did mention love and lovers, and also just not self-love, right? For it is love that loves through us, is what the Viking would say. Alright, here we go. Moloch. Annotation. Moloch, also Melech, was once a god of the Ammonites. Like many gods, Moloch required sacrifices, but those allegedly demanded by Moloch were exceptionally dear. Colin de Plancy describes a giant bronze statue of the god Moloch, shaped like a man with the head of a cow wearing a crown. Inside the statue were 7 cabinets that needed to be filled with 7 sacrifices to Moloch: grain, birds, a ewe, a ram, a calf, a cow, and a human child. Once all of the sacrifices were in place, a fire was built under the statue, and the sounds of drums drowned the cries of the sacrifices. Anyone, or perhaps 2 of those sacrifices, would satisfy many other gods at the time, but Moloch demanded them all. Inspiration. A couple of centuries after Moloch's descent from a powerful and feared god to relatively obscure demon, a tyrant of ancient Greece named Phalaris commissioned an instrument for executing criminals. The device, which would come to be called the Brazen Bull, was a bronze container built in the shape of a bull, into which criminals would be placed and fires set underneath. There is no evidence that Phalaris was aware of the ancient statue of Moloch, but the similarities between the terrible devices are clear. Moloch eventually lost his position of powerful god and was demoted to a demon, and Phalaris was eventually executed using his own brazen bull. Perhaps both would have benefited from a reign less marked by sacrifice and torture. And finally, the divination, it says, beware of stern punishment and unyielding strictness. So nothing there related to love that I can see, but those are the 5 positions. It is 3:53 here on the East Coast, Eastern Daylight Time, Eastern Standard Time. And one more time, the 5 positions are in position number 1, overview of the situation. Number 2, challenge. Number 3, course of action called for. Number 4 is sacrifice. And number 5 is new situation evolving. So what I'm going to do here is just go through the keywords in all of them and nothing else, and see if I come across anything in this final summary. So number 1, I'm going to read all 3 of them. In number 1, we have the overview of the situation. Overview of the situation is the Viking runes: protection, sedge or rushes, the elk. For position number 1 of the Black Tarot is the Father of Baskets, which is provider support. And then in position number 1, which is overview of the situation for the Demon Tarot, is Zaphon, which says, what does Zaphon say? Zaphon, which is, beware of being swept into a mob mentality. Or, what's one word that can be pulled out of it? I don't know. Alright, let's see. Number 2 position is the challenge. And the challenge in the Viking runes is represented by a reversal, Othilla reversed on page 98. And Othilla, I'm just going to look at one word for Othilla. Reversed is separation. So separation reversed, would that be union? In the Black Tarot, it's the Mother of Wands. And it's passion and courage and try something new. And then in the Demon Tarot, it's Malthus, which it says Malthus. What do you have, Malthus? What do you got for us? And for the challenge, it's focus on physical or metaphorical structure, creating strong foundations, finding weakness, and indestructible barriers. All right. Number 3 position, we have in the Viking runes, we have Aurochs, which is strength. In the Black Tarot, we have the Devil, which the Devil says what? Desire, addiction, and no. And then in the Demon Tarot, we have Berit, which Berit says what? What's with Berit once again? Is focus on material gain. Alright, beware of greed. Alright, number 4th position is the Sacrifice, and in the Sacrifice position is Iwas reversed, which is movement. So reversement of movement, which is maybe standing still. The 4th position for that Sacrifice is the Mother of Coins, and the Mother of Coins is, what does she have as an abbreviation? Mother of Coins, where are you? Mother of Coins, we have generosity and opulence, and do not spend for 1 week or month. So maybe that's a reversal of movement and not to stop. And then finally in the Demon Tower we have Garuda. And Garuda is the Hindu god that is in that position. And Garuda's divination says focus on patience and perseverance in difficult situations and on repaying those who help to attain goals. I think I am seeing some patterns, but I might be missing stuff because I'm moving so fast. But then finally, we have Sowelu, and the one word for Sowelu, which has no reversal, is wholeness. In the Black Tarot, it's the Lovers, which we have. What words do we have that abbreviate lovers here in their description? The lovers. We have unity, yes, and love. Unity, love, and yes. And we have I attract relationships and connections with individuals that are in line with my higher self. And finally, the demon Moloch in that position of the new situation evolving. The 5th position is, I think it was burning the shit out of stuff. Here we go. Moloch, what did you say? Beware of stern punishments and unyielding strictness. Alright. Now, I have another really cool experiment that I'm going to do, but that concludes that one right there. I went through fast, and that is by me going and taking a notebook and simply writing out the descriptions of all of them back to back under one heading, under one title. So, for example, what I mean by that is that under the position of overview of the situation, I'm simply going to write down everything that it says from that first position's rune, followed by everything that it says for the first card's rune of the Black Tarot, followed by everything that's said by the first position that came in the Demon Tarot, and see if there's any coherence from reading them all through one like that, so that I don't have to take time switching from book to book. Because sometimes when you read clearly through, you either will see more, or read straight through, you either see more clearly whether there are any connections or not. Now, I do have to say though that the very first ones here were the overview of the situation. All seem to align pretty well. So that leads me to conclude this experiment with something else that I'm going to do. which is to do a single draw from each one of the divination tools. Because the first ones lined up pretty well, I'm going to do a single draw from each one of them and see what happens. But that's going to require me to reshuffle and do all this stuff like that. So, because again, remember, let's take a look at the full description of number 1 for algaes, which happens to be on page 111, right? Taking a screenshot, which it is in the angel numbers. And that is this. So this is important here. Remember, 111 for algaes, it talks about these few things here. Protection, right? Control of the emotions. When we went to the father of baskets, it says that he's full of emotional intelligence, right? So the father of baskets says emotional intelligence. So there is a connection there. And then finally in Zaphan, it said, beware not to let rebellious ideas or other things turn violent, right? So these are all three talking about control of the emotions. I think that is significant enough to say that at least in the first ones and with a few of the other ones, that the overview of the situation came out to have some very powerful similarities there. And so it is with that I'm going to conclude this by saying that that's the experiment that I'm going to do next, and I'm going to go ahead and put those three next to each other. I'm going to come back on in just a few minutes, and I'm going to take a look at doing these single draws to see what happens if there's more of a coherence with only single drawing from each one of them. Which, remember, that's the overview of the situation. So that's where everything starts. And they all started talking about control of the emotions. So all of those things talked about self-control, specifically emotion, not letting things get violently out of control, having emotional intelligence. And the Viking moons just came out straight up and said, control of the emotions is at issue here. It is 1 minute after 4 here on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time. And I got to go to another base to get specific clearance for that place. So who knows when I'll come back, but I've now got a new run of an experiment that I can do. Until next time, stay well.